And then this is where I have to put this speaker on mute.
Because me?
That too. No, so we don't get the feedback.
Oh. Yes.
I'm going to the decision and minutes right on the last time. I sent council an email at the time,
I did.
just letting know that it's going to be there. But then if Mayor asks, one of this, I put green tabs on everything for her to sign.
Okay.
There's more sections for her.
Vanessa,
All the.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
it says we're streaming live now on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yes, it just started.
Okay, so I'll watch my language.
Yes, please.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Mark, did you see my email about the 4 dates for that land use planning? Is there, if you could let me know which one is good for you?
Oh, was it? I thought it was just, there they are. Whatever came down, I'd be good with. We're talking the fall now, aren't we?
Yeah, September the 14th was the first one no, September 17th, October 14th, or the 28th, or November the 12th.
Let's go with October 14th.
Okay.
Please, sorry, I misread. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, September.
October
maybe a
14th.
challenge.
Okay,
Great.
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Nodding of heads. Wonderful. Thank you so much. It is now 5:31, and I will call the Committee of Adjustment to order. And number 2 on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes for May 26, 2020. Do we have a motion to accept those minutes? We have Mr. Jameson, and do we have a seconder for that motion? We have Mr. Fody. And any discussion, errors or omissions in those minutes, please raise your hand if you have anything to add or change. Mr. Gorell, I can't see you, so I'm going to ask the host to unmute you so that I can hear a yay or nay if you're okay with those, that set of minutes. Can we unmute Mr. Gorell? Oh, sorry, I can hear Mr. Ohlke now.
The host asked me to unmute, not Mr. Gorell.
Oh, I apologize. So do you have anything to add, Mr. Ohlke?
No, you were trying to get Mr. Gorell, but you got me instead. Poor unlucky you.
These things happen. Oh, there we go. Mr. Gorell is unmuted now. Mr. Gorell, do you have anything to add?
No objections, and working on the video.
Okay, no worries. No worries. All those in favor, Mr. Gorell, are you in favor of accepting the minutes as circulated? Yes.
Yes.
All those in favor, please signify. All those opposed, and that motion carries. So any declarations of interest in regards to the applications being seen by the committee this evening? None. So I'll make some opening remarks. I'd just like to remind everyone as we get underway that everyone will be muted with the exception of the chair. When the committee members wish to speak, the chair will recognize you. So I just ask that you put your hand up. Mr. Gorell, hopefully we can get your video working so that we can see you. If not, maybe you want to send me a text. I'll have my phone beside me in the event that you can't get through that way. And just wait a second or two before you start speaking, and we'll ensure that your microphone is turned on. I would also like to remind committee members that when we do the voting, that please clearly show your hand on the screen and leave your hand visible for a few seconds until the chair verbally indicates the outcome of voting. For those people that are attendees, your video picture will not be displayed. You will be muted and will not be able to unmute yourself during an application that you have not requested to attend. At the beginning of each application, I will call the application forward. Anyone who is registered for the application, excuse me, will be unmuted. Everyone wishing to speak to the application will be provided an opportunity to do so. All written comments and responses received concerning the applications have been posted and publicly available for viewing on the Township Civic Web, and therefore during each application, the Secretary Treasurer will advise who is in favor and who is opposed to the minor variance application only. Once a decision has been made concerning your application, you are welcome to leave the meeting while the committee continues on to the next application. So staff that we have in attendance this evening, we have the Assistant Planner, Tom Fair, we have the Secretary Treasurer, Amanda Werner-Mackler, and we have the Director of Planning, Marnie Venditti, and we have the Clerk, Vanessa Latimer, and we have our CAO, Steve Donaghy, in attendance as well. And I believe I asked for a declaration of interest and nobody had brought anything up. So the next application that's to come forward, so I don't have the resolutions, Amanda. So these are the resolutions for the committee. I don't have any resolutions. And
Sorry, 1 second. Vanessa's just bringing them over to you.
okay, perfect. I'll just open my door. Everyone. So, resolution. that the minutes be adopted. So that one's already been done. So the next application that's on the docket is application A-2020-009 Thomas 299 Tar Island. So the motion, we put the motion on the floor first, I'm assuming. Amanda? A yes? Okay. So I need a mover and a seconder. Who would like to move this motion? So I have Mr. Jameson and then Mr. Ohlke. Okay, and that application A-2020-009 be approved as attached. So I believe there is someone present at this meeting to speak to this application. I believe it's Tim Thomas, the owner, who's speaking in favor, obviously, of the application. So if we'll ask the clerk to allow Mr. Thomas to be added and unmuted so that he can speak to this application. Oh, sorry. Amanda, do I have him speak first and then I have him speak first and then you read it, or you read it first?
I'll read it first and then we'll have, just to give everybody an overview of what we're doing. The owner wishes to construct a 23.9 square meter dock and ramp on an existing 256.2 square meter marine facility.
Okay. So we'll ask Mr. Thomas to explain to the committee what you're proposing in more specific detail, and we'll give you some time to speak to that. Mr. Thomas?
Hello all.
Wonderful, thank you.
What we're installing on the front of our boathouse is a floating dock. As you all are probably aware, there's been a lot of problems with high waters recently, and it's very difficult to get to our property during those times. We have raised our dock. The water gets so high and it's impossible to get access to the property. The floater would obviously facilitate that for us. And we are back in a nice bay, not interfering anywhere near any channels or any type thing like that. And I appreciate your consideration, and if any committee members have any questions, please.
Okay, Amanda, have we received any comments at this point?
Yes, we received comments from the Cataraqui Region Conservation Authority and the Ministry of Transportation with no objections. And
Tom, do you have any comments to be made in regards to this, to your report?
Nothing additional to add beyond the staff report at this time.
Okay, so I don't think there's anyone from CRCA or the health unit that's attending. And so I will ask the committee to raise their hand if they have any questions or queries in regards to this application put forward. So I'll recognize Mr. Maybe. And for now, that's just Mr. Maybe. So if we can unmute him, please.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. And through you, I have a couple questions. When I first read this, I was wondering whether it was a shallow water issue, and as alluded to, it's a high water issue. One of my questions is, how deep is the water at the edge of the current solid boathouse dock, and how deep will the water be at the end of the floating dock? And also, how close is the new proposal of the dock to neighbors' property, as in alignment and getting boats around other potential docks in the vicinity? And with it being a dock that's being installed to help with high water, is there going to be walkways or gangways put on the existing dock to actually keep your feet out of the water from this floating dock, since that's the reason that you're asking for it? And that the boathouse that's to the west, the one with the pointed kind of area of the boathouse, looks to be fairly new, and I'm just wondering how old that particular structure may be at this point. Thank you.
Mr. Thomas?
I'll take those. The water depth, kind of the mean water depth at the end of the dock would be approximately 5 feet, between 4 to 5 feet. The floating dock would extend out, obviously, the length of the new dock, and I'd be guessing, but I would guess it's probably 6, maybe 7 feet, not that far. Obviously in low water years, you know, we get right down into the muck, right? That hasn't been a problem lately. What was, let me see, the structure to the west is just a dock. There is no boathouse on that. That's been there for quite some time. That's our neighbors. We have good distance between ourselves and our neighbors to both sides. And I don't believe there should be any boat traffic problems. We are quite a ways off the channel, so it's really just the boats going to those boathouses at one time or another.
Yes.
Does that answer your questions, Mr. Maybe?
I think there was another item.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes, there is.
What was it?
It was the walkways on the existing dock during high water, because your reason for the floating dock is to get your feet out of the water.
The reason for the dock would mainly to, I don't know whether anybody there has tried to dock a boat that's at a dock that's underwater. It's a weird feeling. Would give the boat a place to go. When first arriving there, obviously we'd need some boots.
Yes. Yes.
What would get put on, there would be something temporary as a walkway, certainly.
Yeah.
Docks.
Okay. No, that answers my questions. Thank you very much, sir.
Perfect. Are there any other questions for Mr. Thomas? I know Mr. Gorell would like to get in here. Then we'll recognize Mr. Gorell for now, please and thank you. There we go, you're unmuted.
Okay, thank you all. I boat by the Thomas's cottage on a regular basis. I actually took some videos in the bay, and I can honestly say it is such a minor ask. It truly is not in anyone's way. It's an enhancement to the bay. It's a very small ask. The dock is completely proportional. It's a classy dock. It's been there for many, many years. And I do understand what Mr. Thomas's concerns are at high water, because he has, I believe, it's an older property, and it was, I imagine it was inundated in the high water. So I understand why he would want a floater. And believe me, it's in a bay that has few enough properties. The properties are large. And I would fully support and strongly suggest that the committee support this effort. Thank you.
Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Thomas? Okay. I don't believe there's anyone else in the audience who is speaking for or against this. There's 2 other attendees, but I believe they're for the next application. So is there anything further you would like to contribute, Mr. Thomas?
No.
Okay. No problem. So if you're satisfied with the conditions placed on the decision, which are in Tom's report, and I don't believe that anybody's looking to add or change any of the conditions that are put into Tom's report. Amanda, I don't know if we don't necessarily need to read all the conditions at this point, unless somebody wants them read.
We don't need to. Mr. Thomas has received a copy of Tom's report as well. So if he has any questions about the conditions, we can address them, but we don't need to unless anybody wants us to.
Okay, so with that, I'll reread the motion as moved by Councillor Jameson and seconded by Councillor Ohlke, that the application A-2020-009 be approved as attached. Any further comments before we call the question? Seeing none, all those in favor of the application in front of the committee, please signify. Mr. Gorell, are you in favor? I think you are. He's not unmuted, or he's not muted at this point, but I know based on his comments previously.
Yay, go.
Awesome.
I apologize for the video.
That's all right. So that motion carries and that application is approved. Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for your time. And we'll move on to the next application. So you'll receive a copy of the decision and you're welcome to leave the meeting now, which is great. Okay, Next motion on the floor, next application is A-2020-013, Oliver 821 Grippen Beach Lane. I need a motion. Sorry, this is all new for the Committee of Adjustments, so I just have to go back to my cheat sheet here. So I'll take a mover and a seconder for this application. So Mr. Ohlke, any seconder? Mr. Maybe? Okay, that application A-2020-013 be approved as attached. And I believe we have two attendees, Brandon Aleo, I believe is how you say it. And Mr. Grell, you're sorry,
I
Mr.
thought I'd come in from the ceiling.
But I guess I could see your hand now, so I'm sorry. I just looked up and saw that. I apologize. So I believe that we also have Susie Oliver on the line as well. Oh, he's right side up now. Oh, good. Thank you, Mr. Grell. And so Amanda, can you read the purpose of the application, please, and thank you.
The owner of the subject property wishes to construct a 28.4 square meter single-story enclosed porch on an existing deck on a non-conforming single-story, single detached dwelling. The dwelling is considered non-conforming as there are two dwellings on the property.
Okay. So I guess we will ask the either the agent or the owner or both to be added to the meeting so that they can speak to this application and make any further comments in regards to what they're hoping to accomplish here. Mr. Is it Aleo? I'm not sure if I'm saying that
close.
right.
It's ILO.
ILO. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
perfect.
get
You
that
got
right. Wonderful. If you'd like to speak to this application, we'd appreciate it.
I would, yes. Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, committee members. I can give a little background information. Amanda summarized the proposal well. In addition to her comments, the owner is going to construct a foundation under the existing cottage. It's about a 700 square foot cottage built circa the early century. So they are getting closer to retirement age and would like to have the property renovated to meet their needs a little more and to make the whole property a little bit better. As a part of that, there is an existing deck to the cottage or the lake side of the cottage that they would like to have a portion of that as a covered deck. So they would have a place to sit and enjoy the water in the lakeside. That property is, or that portion of the property is well above the floodplain and well away from the shoreline. Similar cottages in the immediate vicinity have similar amenities, and they would they saw those and they would like to have the same thing, I think. So I think Susie is with us if she wants to make comment as well. But that's all I have.
Ms. Oliver, would you like to add anything?
Hi, sure. Hi, everybody. First of all, I just want to thank you for your thorough work because I know that you all have tremendous details to handle. And I want to thank Brendan for being so thorough in representing us. I've come to this cottage since I was born, and I'm turning 64 this July 30th, and my husband will be 68. So what Brendan shared with you is correct. And we're just excited. We're going to keep the look of the cottage as it exists now because it's very charming. And you all know Mark Rays, and he will be the gentleman doing the work for us. So we're excited. We're hoping that everything goes, as exactly as planned. Thank you for your help.
Thank you very much, Ms. Oliver, for your comments. Amanda, have we received any comments?
Yes, we received comments from the Cataraqui Region Conservation Authority and the Ministry of Transportation with no objections.
Okay. Tom, do you have any comments to make in addition to your report?
Oh, nothing beyond the report at this time.
Okay, so the report sort of speaks for itself, if you will, and there's still no one from CRCA or the health unit that's attending. Now I can ask any committee members if you'd like to make any questions or queries. Mr. Maybe, I'll recognize you first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My biggest question is percentage of land use on this particular property, and this goes to Tom probably, what it might be.
Oh, sorry, we need to unmute Tom. There we go.
I'll grab that figure here. So existing lot coverage is 13.8% and will be
13.8%. Sorry, Tom, we're having a hard time hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you a little better.
Okay. Existing lot coverage is 13.8% and it will be increased to 16.7%.
Well, within the parameters of the township bylaw, right?
Well, the bylaw is 10%.
Sorry, is what percent?
The maximum is 10%, so it is increasing a bit further, but it's worth bearing in mind that what's being covered is already an existing deck.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Any further questions in regards to this application? Mr. Gorell, I can see you. If we can unmute Mr. Gorell, or if he isn't already unmuted.
Hello.
There we go.
Okay. Question. When they put the foundation under the structure, are they going to raise the building? Is it, in other words, are they going to jack the building up and put in a foundation, or a few details on that would be a little bit helpful. And the age of this, I think I read, was 1930s when it was originally constructed, I believe I read. And are there any comments on, and if I've got my ducks in a row here, the health unit, they said there was a holding tank, but there was some question as to a Wells pipe versus a pump out. I just wonder if we had any further clarifications on that from planning.
So Mr. Fair. Sorry, we're just waiting. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would refer to the applicant on the actual construction of the foundation, because that will be a building permit matter. I'm just trying to find the health unit comments here. Amanda, do you say we received comments from the health unit?
We did not. I contacted them today by email and phone, but didn't get a call back. So we don't have any comments from them.
Okay.
So does that answer your questions, Mr. Grell, in regards to the building permit, or would you like the applicants to speak to the foundation issue?
No, I'll trust that the planning department will do what is necessary because there are a couple of ways of raising a house, and some of them are pretty messy and some are not. And it would, you know, to put a foundation under something, you can do it a number of ways. So I was just curious what they had in mind. They're near the water table. And I was just curious. And once again, if the health department doesn't have any concerns on that holding tank, then I don't. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, any further questions or comments in regards to this application? Seeing none, is there anyone else in the audience? There's still only 14 participants. I just want to make sure that we are not missing any. Brenda Smith is on the line. Do we know if Ms. Smith is interested in this application or for or against?
I don't have Brenda registered for the meeting.
Maybe we can unmute Ms. Smith to see if she has any comments. Ms. Smith? We'll just have to wait until we get you unmuted. We're having issues getting her unmuted. Yeah. Oh, there, Ms. Smith, you're unmuted if you'd like to speak.
We had a little technical difficulty.
Yes, it would be.
I have no comment. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. I just didn't want to let it go in case somebody did. Okay. Is there anything further that the applicants would like to contribute before we close and call the question on this application?
Nope.
No, thank you. No.
Okay. And if the committee is satisfied with the conditions placed on the decision, which are in Tom's report, unless anybody needs to add or remove anything, not seeing anything at this point. So I'll read the Motion once more, moved by Councillor Ohlke, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the application A-2020-013 be approved as attached. All those in favor of the application as presented, please signify. All those opposed, and that carries. Okay, thank you to the applicants for being present. Now, sorry, I've got to find my agenda. I'm pretty sure it's just I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so the motion that comes next is adjournment. I need a mover and a seconder. Mr. Jameson, your hand went up fairly quickly. Seconder, Mr. Ohlke. Okay. The Committee of Adjustment will adjourn to meet again at the call of the Secretary Treasurer. All those in favor of the motion at hand, please signify. All those opposed, carried. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and attention, and we'll move on at 6:30, I believe, to the Committee of the Whole. Thank you very much.
Read Archie.